Look, I know what you're gonna say. Dang night, isn't it too warm to be making gumbo? Well, for one, it was 50 degrees yesterday, which is like negative 20 degrees for southerners. And for two, it's never too late. So go ahead and dust off the biggest pot you got. We're making the best chicken and sausage gumbo this side of the Mississippi. Rumor has it is that I wasn't born in New Orleans. However, once you taste this gumbo, you'll still know I wasn't born in New Orleans, but it's gonna be pretty damn good anyways. We're gonna start with prepping our proteins and go from there. Now, only a minute into the video, I got my first tip of the day for y'all. To save time, you can buy boneless, skinless chicken thighs from the store, but if you're like me and wanna save a buck, buy the bone-in ones instead. It only takes about 5 minutes to peel that skin off and cut the bone out. Be sure to use a sharp knife to take off that little hard piece on the end. I also used a pair of shears to finish the job, but go with whatever's most convenient for you. For 8 thighs, it was less than $6. You can't beat that. Next, we're gonna get our smoked sausage and slice it into manageable pieces. Quick note, if you're using a cutting board, be sure to sanitize it in between these two steps. If you give your date food poisoning, for one, I'm not responsible. And for two, you probably won't get a second date, so clean as you go. Don't let me down. Now, we're gonna add some flair to the recipe. We're gonna fully season the chicken. I won't judge you if you choose to go for just salt and pepper, but I think it makes a difference when you go all in. I gave the chicken a generous amount of garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, and smoked paprika. I also added some Cajun seasoning to the mix off camera. Mix everything together with some neutral oil and set it to the side. Speaking of off camera, I figured y'all were tired of watching me cut onions, and I was tired of crying behind the lens. Before we get to the stove, make sure to roughly chop up 1 onion, a bell pepper, and a couple of stalks of celery. Now that that's out the way, let's get to cooking. Get a small amount of oil in a pot and set the stove to medium heat. Get those sausages in there and let them brown up. These are already cooked, so don't overdo it. We're just looking for those crispy edges that'll really bring out the flavor. Once we've reached a color that looks like this, set those aside and drop the thighs in that same pot. Again, we're not looking to cook these through, but to just give them a little bit of color. When they look like this, take them out and let's start this roux. This is like the 4th time I've done a roux on this channel. Seriously, go check out some of my older videos if you don't believe me. If you're not confident about your roux by now, it's okay. This is a safe space, kinda. I'm gonna show you one more time, but after that, you're on your own. Just kidding. But start off with lowering your heat nearly all the way down and adding 1 stick of butter. Then we're gonna get about 1.5 cups of flour and slowly whisk it in. It's key that you don't pour it all in at one time or you might get some clumps. Add more flour as well if your roux consistency is too thin. Now here's the tricky part. If you're a beginner, you want to keep that heat super low so that it won't burn. The only downside to this is that it's going to be a minute until it's ready. If you're more experienced, you can crank up the stove a little higher, but I wouldn't stray too far from the pot. If you overcook the roux, there's no use in trying to save it. Dump it and try it again. We're looking for a color similar to that of a Hershey's chocolate bar or a little darker. Don't kill the heat at this point. To stop the roux from cooking, add in those vegetables we chopped up earlier and give it a good stir. These are going to cook down and tenderize in a short amount of time, so don't go anywhere. Unless you're going to the date night's official Instagram or TikTok page. In that case, go right ahead. After about 5 minutes, add in about 4 or 5 cups of water. Now we've been building flavor almost this entire video. Using the same pot for the whole process is very important because you'll get all that flavor from the sausage and the chicken in the final product. We've done good so far, but we're not finished yet. We're gonna season our gumbo with a ridiculous amount of garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, and cayenne to taste. Round it off with some Slap Your Mama. Louisiana hot sauce will kick up the spice, so don't be afraid to add a couple drops of that too. You then want to get a half a lemon and squeeze that into the mix, preferably with no seeds. Grab a spoon and taste as you go. This is the time to make adjustments before we start cooking again. I added in a few cubes of chicken and shrimp bouillon for some added flavor. Chicken stock works well too, but I paid good money for these, and damn it, I'ma use them. If everything tastes good, throw back in those chicken thighs and the smoked sausage and bring the pot back to a rolling boil. Let it cook on high for 1 or 2 minutes and add a bay leaf as well. You then want to reduce the flame to a simmer and cover for at least an hour. Give it a stir and let it continue to cook for about 30 more minutes. After an hour and a half, it has reached a consistency that I like, so we're gonna take it off the heat and add in the shrimp. These take almost no time to cook, so I like to get them in there last. I got gumbo everywhere for this shot, so if you've gotten any value out of this video so far, please leave a like. Hopefully you've caught on that you need some rice for this recipe. If not, just let your gumbo continue to roll. We'll wait for you to catch up. If you got the hint, go ahead and put a mound of rice in the center of your bowl and pour in your perfect cup of gumbo. That chicken is going to be so tender and the flavors are going to be like no other. I like to add in some green onion at the end to keep things healthy, but other than that, congratulations on another meal well done. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe and leave a like so you don't miss anything from the night.